We come to you today with news that is both shocking and profoundly heartbreaking. Earlier today, on what should have been a peaceful Sunday afternoon in Hillsboro, Oregon, a devastating fire erupted at the home of Amy Roloff, the beloved matriarch of the Little People, Big World family. We can confirm that Amy was inside the home at the time of the blaze. She was rescued by emergency crews and has been transported to a Portland area hospital, where sources excruciatingly close to the family are telling us she is currently in very critical condition. Is Amy Roloff death? This is a tragedy that strikes at the heart of a family that has shared its life, its triumphs, and its struggles with the world. Let's begin with the timeline of today's events. This is what we have been able to piece together from official sources and eyewitness reports. The day began like any other Sunday in the quiet, suburban neighborhood where Amy and her husband, Chris Merrick, settled after she sold her portion of Roloff Farms, a place she had lovingly turned into her own home, a hub for her family and her passion for cooking. At approximately 9:47 a.m. Pacific Time, the Washington County Consolidated Communications Agency received the first 911 call. The call, according to a source within the agency, came from a frantic neighbor who reported seeing thick, black smoke billowing from the windows of the Roloff Merrick residence. "I was in my garden, just watering my hydrangeas, and I smelled it first. That awful, acrid smell of plastic and wood burning. I looked up and saw this huge plume of black smoke coming from Amy's house. From the back of the house, it looked like near the kitchen. My heart just dropped into my stomach. I screamed for my husband to call 911, and I just ran out onto the street. You could see the orange glow inside the windows. It was terrifying. Absolutely terrifying." Within 4 minutes, the first units from the Hillsboro Fire and Rescue Department arrived on the scene. They were met with what fire officials would later describe as a heavily involved structure fire. The situation was immediately escalated. It was a race against time. Neighbors on the street reported seeing Chris Merrick, Amy's husband, outside the home in a state of absolute distress, being held back by another neighbor as he tried to run back towards the burning house. He was covered in soot, and it was clear he had tried to combat the fire or reach Amy himself before being forced out by the heat and smoke. Firefighters initiated an aggressive interior attack, battling intense heat and near-zero visibility. It was during this primary search of the residence that they located Amy Roloff. She was found unconscious in a hallway adjacent to the main living area, having apparently been overcome by smoke while trying to escape. Paramedics on the scene immediately began advanced life support. They worked on her for several minutes on the lawn before she was stabilized enough for transport. An ambulance rushed her, with lights and sirens blaring, to the Oregon Health and Science University Hospital in Portland, known for its Level 1 trauma center. Chief Miller says, "Our crews made a courageous and rapid entry into the structure. They located one adult female victim and were able to extricate her. She has been transported to OHSU with what I would classify as life-threatening injuries, primarily related to smoke inhalation and thermal burns. Our hearts go out to the family. The fire is now under control, but the investigation into the cause and origin is just beginning. We will provide more information as it becomes available." Life-threatening injuries. Those are the words no family ever wants to hear. A source very close to the Roloffs confirmed to our network just a short while ago that Amy's condition remains very critical. She is in the fight of her life, surrounded by her family, who are now rushing to her side from across the country. To understand the magnitude of this loss, the depth of this tragedy, we must understand the woman at its center. Amy Roloff is more than a television personality. She is a symbol of resilience, a woman who has faced down adversity her entire life with grace, grit, and an infectious smile. Amy Jo Knight was born on September 17, 1962. From the moment she entered the world, she was destined to live a life that was different. Born with achondroplasia, the most common form of dwarfism, she grew up in a world not built for her. In interviews, she spoke of the challenges, the stares, the whispers, the physical obstacles. But she also spoke of parents who instilled in her an iron will. They taught her that her height did not define. Amy Roloff says, "My dad always told me, Amy, you can do anything an average height person can do. You just might have to do it a little differently." And that stuck with me. I had to have a stool to reach the counter. I had to work harder to keep up physically, but I was never going to let my size be an excuse. She graduated from Central Michigan University and took a job in Silicon Valley, a young woman making her way in the world. But a fateful trip in 1986 would change the course of her life forever. At a Little People of America national conference, she met a charismatic, ambitious young man with a different form of dwarfism, dystrophic dysplasia. His name was Matt Roloff. Their connection was immediate and powerful. They were a dynamic pair. Matt, the big dreaming visionary, and Amy, the pragmatic, steady force that turned those dreams into reality. They married in 1987 and soon moved to Oregon, where they purchased a 34-acre fixer-upper property in Helvetia. It was a pumpkin patch, a rundown farmhouse, and a field of dreams. This would become the iconic Roloff Farms. Their family grew quickly. First, the twins, Jeremy and Zach, one average height, one with achondroplasia like his mother. Then came their daughter, Molly, of average height, and finally, their youngest son, Jacob, also of average height. Amy was now the matriarch of the bustling, unique family. She was the chief cook, the homework supervisor, the emotional anchor, and the logistical genius that made the chaotic, ambitious world of Roloff Farms run. In 2006, the world was introduced to this extraordinary family when Little People, Big World premiered on TLC. The show was a cultural phenomenon. For the first time, a mainstream audience was given an intimate look into the lives of a family with dwarfism. The show shattered stereotypes and built bridges of understanding. And at its heart was Amy. Viewers saw her quiet strength. They saw her navigate the immense challenges of raising 4 children while managing a complex marriage and a demanding business. They saw her advocating for her son Zach as he underwent painful leg surgeries. They saw her vulnerability and her fierce, protective love for her family. But the show also documented the fractures that were forming in her marriage to Matt. Their fundamental differences, his risk-taking versus her caution, created a slow, painful drift. For years, viewers watched them try to hold it together for the sake of the family and the farm they had built from nothing. The eventual divorce, finalized in 2016, was a seismic event for the family and for the show's loyal audience. It was a period of immense pain and uncertainty for Amy. The farm, once the symbol of their unity, now had to be divided. The decision to sell her half of the farm to Matt was one of the most difficult of her life. It meant leaving the home where she had raised her children, the kitchen that held 30 years of memories. Amy Roloff says, "This house was everything. It was the backdrop to our whole lives." And closing this chapter, it's a lot harder than I ever thought it would be. But Amy Roloff has never been defined by her setbacks. She is defined by her ability to rise. After the divorce, she embarked on a new chapter, one that was entirely her own. She bought her own house, the very house that now stands charred and silent. She poured her heart into making it her own. And she found love again. Chris Merrick, a successful real estate agent, came into her life and showed her a new kind of partnership. One built on mutual respect, shared adventures, and quiet companionship. Their wedding, held back at the farm, was a beautiful testament to new beginnings and the enduring bonds of family. Professionally, she flourished. She authored books, became a sought-after motivational speaker, and launched her own successful online business, Amy Roloff's Little Kitchen, sharing her lifelong passion for cooking with the world. She was a grandmother, Mimi, to a growing brood of grandchildren who adored her. Life was good. Life was full. After so many years of living for others, Amy Roloff was finally living for herself, on her own terms, in a home she loved, with a man who cherished her. And that is what makes today's news so utterly, cruelly tragic. An incredible journey of a truly remarkable woman. That strength is being tested like never before tonight. As Amy fights for her life at OHSU, her family is grappling with an unfolding nightmare. Let's talk about the people who are at her bedside, the people whose world has been shattered today. First, her husband, Chris Merrick. Eyewitnesses describe him as being in a state of shock and utter devastation at the scene. He was the one there. He was the one who lived through those first terrifying moments. We can only imagine the horror of seeing the home you share with the love of your life go up in flames and the powerlessness of being unable to reach her. Our sources say he accompanied Amy in the ambulance and has not left the hospital waiting room. He is, by all accounts, inconsolable. Next, Matt Roloff. His relationship with Amy is one of the most complex and documented in reality television history. 30 years of marriage, a business partnership, 4 children, and a contentious divorce. Yet through it all, there has remained a deep, undeniable connection. They are grandparents together. They share a legacy. Just over an hour ago, Matt Roloff posted this on his official Instagram account. He writes, "There are no words. Today, our family has been struck by an unthinkable tragedy. We are all in a state of shock and disbelief. What matters right now is Amy. She is a fighter. She has been a fighter her entire life. I am at the hospital with our children, and we are praying with all our might for her recovery. I am asking for everyone, anyone who has ever been touched by Amy's spirit, to please send your prayers, your light, your strength to her right now. We need it. She needs it. Please also respect our family's privacy as we navigate this crisis. Matt." A powerful and heartbreaking message from the family's patriarch. Now, let's consider the children. Zach Roloff, Amy's son who shares her diagnosis of achondroplasia. Their bond has always been unique. Zach and his wife, Tori, live just a short drive from Amy's home. They and their 3 children, Jackson, Lila, and Josia, are incredibly close with their Mimi. Amy is a constant presence in their lives. For Zach, seeing his mother, his fiercest advocate, in this condition is unimaginable. For Tori, who has developed a deep, daughter-like friendship with Amy, this is a profound personal blow. Their children are too young to understand, but their lives will be irrevocably impacted by the fate of their beloved grandmother. Jeremy and Audrey Roloff, while no longer part of the show, remain integral to the family. They are known for their strong Christian faith, and we can be certain they are leaning heavily on that faith right now, leading the family in prayer. They live further away and are likely making the frantic journey to Portland as we speak. Jeremy, as Zach's twin, shared that unique experience of growing up in the Roloff household. The loss of his mother's new home, a place of peace for her after the farm, will be deeply painful. And then there are the more private children. Molly, who lives in Washington with her husband, has always shied away from the spotlight. But her love for her mother is fierce. She will be there, a quiet, steady presence for her family. And Jacob, the youngest, who has had a complicated relationship with the fame that came from the show. He has often been a critic of the production, but never of his family's love. In recent years, he, his wife Isabel, and their son Mateo have grown closer to Amy. Jacob, in particular, has always shared his mother's compassionate and thoughtful nature. Seeing her so vulnerable will be a devastating blow. This is a family united in crisis, their past differences melting away in the face of a terrifying present. They are all gathered, a fractured but fiercely loyal clan, keeping vigil and praying for a miracle. To help us understand what very critical condition means in a situation like this, we are joined by Dr. Sarah Jenkins. Dr. Jenkins is not involved in Amy's treatment, but can speak to the general nature of these injuries. Doctor, thank you for joining us. When you hear about a patient rescued from a house fire, what are the immediate medical concerns? Dr. Jenkins says, "Thank you for having me, Alex. It's a multifaceted and extremely serious situation. The term critical means there are immediate threats to life, and the patient's vital signs are unstable. In a house fire, we have two primary areas of catastrophic injury. First, there are the thermal burns to the skin. The severity depends on the duration and intensity of the exposure. These are not only incredibly painful, but also open the body up to massive fluid loss and a high risk of infection. Second, and often more deadly, is inhalation injury. Superheated gases and smoke contain toxic chemicals like carbon monoxide and cyanide. These do immense damage to the delicate tissues of the airway and lungs. It can cause swelling that shuts off the airway, and it prevents the body's red blood cells from carrying oxygen. A patient can essentially suffocate even after they've been rescued from the fire. This is likely the most significant battle her doctors are fighting right now. Chief Miller's statement specifically mentioned both burns and smoke inhalation. Given Amy's age, 62, and her achondroplasia, does that present additional complications? Dr. Jenkins, absolutely. Any pre-existing medical condition complicates trauma care. With achondroplasia, there can sometimes be differences in the structure of the spine and the airway, which can make things like intubation, placing a breathing tube, more challenging. The chest cavity may be smaller, which can affect respiratory mechanics. Her age is also a factor, as the body's ability to heal and withstand the immense stress of a critical injury diminishes over time. She is in for an incredibly tough fight. The next 24 to 48 hours are absolutely crucial. Dr. Sarah Jenkins, thank you for your invaluable insight during this difficult time. While the medical team at OHSU fights to save Amy's life, investigators are beginning the painstaking work of sifting through the ashes of her home to find out what happened. Fire Chief David Miller stated that the investigation is in its earliest stages. They will meticulously map the burn patterns, analyze debris, and examine the home's electrical systems and appliances to pinpoint the fire's origin and cause. At this time, there is absolutely no indication of foul play. Investigators often find that tragic accidents like this stem from the most common of sources: a faulty wire, an appliance malfunction, or, in a home so centered around the kitchen, a cooking accident. Given Amy's passion for cooking and her Amy Roloff's little kitchen business, the focus will almost certainly begin there. The irony is almost too cruel to contemplate, that the place that brought her so much joy could become the source of such profound tragedy. In the hours since the news broke, the digital world has lit up with an overwhelming wave of support, love, and prayer for Amy Roloff. The hashtag #PrayForAmy is trending #1 worldwide. Fan 1. I've been watching Lpbw since day one. Amy Roloff taught me so much about motherhood and resilience. My heart is absolutely broken, praying for a miracle. Fan 2. The Roloffs feel like a part of my own family, sending every bit of strength and love to Amy, Chris, and the entire family. Please pull through. It's not just fans. Fellow reality stars from across the TLC network and beyond have been posting their own messages of support, speaking to the impact Amy has had not just on viewers, but on the television community as a whole. This outpouring of love is a testament to the woman we have been talking about. A woman who, despite living a life of extraordinary circumstances, has a spirit that is universally relatable. She is the mother, the grandmother, the friend, the survivor. She has a quiet dignity, an inner steel, and a warmth that transcends the television screen. Today, that warmth is being met with a tidal wave of hope from millions of people who have never met her, but who feel as if they know her. We end our special report where we began, with a family in crisis and a beloved woman fighting for her life in a hospital in Portland, Oregon. The story of Amy Roloff has always been one of overcoming obstacles, from the physical challenges of her dwarfism to the emotional hurdles of a public divorce. She has always met adversity with a resilience that is nothing short of inspiring. Tonight, she faces the greatest battle of her life. The future is uncertain. The questions are many. What caused the fire? What will become of the home she so lovingly built? And the most important, most terrifying question of all, Will she survive? We do not have those answers tonight. All we have is the story of her life, a legacy of strength, faith, and unconditional love for her family. And we have hope. Our thoughts, our prayers, and our deepest well wishes are with Chris Merrick, with Matt Roloff, with Zach, Jeremy, Molly, and Jacob, and with all of Amy's grandchildren and loved ones. More update. Amy Roloff and Chris Merrick moving again? But why? I will explain everything. Little people. Big World's Amy Roloff discussed Chris Merrick and Pumpkin Season 2023 in a live Facebook video this week. She engages with her audience and answers their most common questions by using her platform to do so often. Tell me what she has said about the upcoming Roloff Farms pumpkin season. Keep looking for further details. A home that brought joy to her heart was passed over. But the little people. Big World star continued to search, as she informed her followers in 2019. She did a lot of renovating after finally finding one. Her then-fiancé, Chris Merrick, assisted her in acquiring it, and it was located near the Hillsborough farm. According to Lpbw followers, she chose a nearly $600,000 property with 4,000 square feet. In 2020, Amy Roloff told Lpbw fans that moving to a new place was very different, as she continued to update them on her move. The changes, nevertheless, did start to make her more comfortable. Still, she had a plethora of stuff stashed away in the basement of the ancient farmhouse. As you could have guessed, she has a slight hoarding tendency. Because every object carried such precious memories for her, she had a hard time letting go of them. She and Chris were informed that they were now living together in September 2021, after their August wedding. He has always thought that a couple should live apart until they are married, which you might not be aware of. When that happened, Chris had already made himself at home in his own bachelor apartment, taking pleasure in all the modern conveniences. There was an entertainment area, a covered porch, and a beautiful roomy kitchen, according to TLC viewers. They have 4 bedrooms and a few personal additions. Why would they ever want to leave? Not long ago, Lisa and Amy Roloff had a Facebook Live discussion. They had already spoken about the Little People of America Athletic Association's financial situation when fan asked her where she lived. "Are you and Chris relocating?" the question said. She loves her current residence so much that you might be startled by what the Lpbw actress said in her response. Amy Roloff responded by saying they are actively looking. She mentioned that they both want something with a little more room, a little more space, even though they both love their home, and it's in a nice area. A real quote from her is, "An acre would be nice." But she went on to say, "It's getting very, very expensive out here." Also, she plans to remain in the Pacific Northwest region as that's where most of her kids and grandkids stay. Is Amy's update something you can get behind? Amy investigates the sad drama around the family farm. But why? I'll lay out the whole thing. Given all the turmoil that has transpired around the property, Amy still has conflicting feelings about helping her ex-husband, Matt, out on the farm. Enjoy this sneak peek from Little People, Big World. Amy confides in Chris about her decision to pitch in during pumpkin season on the farm. But she jokingly mentions that her and Matt's kids probably won't be able to tag along. I'll admit, it's not like I am 100% jumping up and down for joy, because I still think I have some personal emotions and thoughts behind, the farm, and what has gone down and everything. According to her, since Matt would not sell Jeremy and Zach a portion of the farm at the price he was asking, the farm has become a rift in his relationship with his children. Find a buyer has been a challenge for him ever since. In spite of this, Chris expresses to Amy his desire for her children to continue visiting the farm with their grandkids during the fall harvest. As Amy points out, there are numerous changes taking place. She does not hold out much hope. Roloff Farms will forever be the name of the farm, she assures the cameras. It was the Roloff family's childhood home. The fact that the kids no longer regard the farm as their own makes sense to me, and I can certainly see why some of them wouldn't be present. For the moment, I'm thinking it's Matt's farm, but that could alter depending on the future of this property. Unfortunately, it is their dad's farm. During E.T.'s October interview with the Roloffs, Matt discussed the difficulties he's had with his son Zach. I would say that the status of the relationship, if I had to summarize it, it's on the right path, according to Matt. In the past few years, we've encountered a few obstacles. We have already divulged all of those details on the forthcoming season. Every time anything new is introduced, our real life is somewhat ahead of schedule. Still, we're making progress. Zach, whose talks with his dad for a share of the property collapsed, opted to leave the farm with his wife Tori and their children, according to an interview Zach gave to ET. It's just unfortunate the way things went down, but I think a lot of the siblings have kinda had enough of it and separated, which is totally sad, and it's unfortunate, according to him. I think we should be spending this time together as a family, with lots of cousins, enjoying the grandchildren, but instead we're all kind of apart. However, it is what it is. More update. In a confessional style, the scene transitions to Amy remarking, when a family goes through a major event like Matt and I getting divorced, and then the farm not working out, yeah, you do feel like something has broken. A choice is presented to you, she continues. Is there a method to help it recover if you leave it damaged for how long? Quite a while will pass. Amy and Chris Merrick have remarried and are now in the process of finding a new house. After Matt failed to sell the property, he and his fiancée built their dream house and turned it into a short-term holiday rental. He later stoked a family conflict by admitting that, upon his death, he would prefer to leave the land to his ex-wife than any of his children. Matt acknowledged in the season 25 teaser that he and his wife Tori don't spend much time together, and Zach flat out refused to discuss his dad's engagement to Chandler in front of the camera. We don't see Zach and Tori that often, Matt added, referring to his son and his wife, to whom they share 3 children. I think they must have made some sort of pact that they don't want to come to the farm. Zach announced his official departure from Little People, Big World, and the end of his tenure in season 25 during an episode of his podcast, Raising Heights, which he co-hosts with his wife Tori, in February. Petrified Matt Roloff after they tie the knot. His relationship with fiancée Karen Chandler may undergo some changes. Actor Matt Roloff is looking forward to spending the rest of his life with his fiancée Karen Chandler, even though the couple is rethinking actually getting married. On the latest episode of the hit TLC show, 62-year-old Matt revealed to his friends, including Chris Merrick, who is married to his ex-wife Amy, that he is petrified to get married again. When asked about his concerns about their relationship changing on their wedding day, the reality star said he can't imagine himself with anybody other than Karen. After Matt's friend Ty saw that he appeared scared about getting married, he confessed that he is feeling petrified while relaxing in his log cabin. According to the reality star, he and his fiancée have discussed how they are afraid that their relationship could end, particularly since it's working so well at the moment. He proposed to her in April of last year. We have the whole, don't fix what's not broke, Matt added. We have that entire thing under control. Not that we're against the institution of marriage. We both enjoy it and have been married. But do we really need to do that? As he spoke, the 56-year-old farmer from Roloff Farms made it clear that he and Karen are savoring each day of their engagement. We're not taking any risks, the TV celebrity reassured his friends. We always say, we'll talk about it again in a couple weeks or months or whatever, when we talk about it. Chris, 61, revealed that he had experienced something similar prior to his marriage to Amy in 2021 in an effort to comfort his friend, with whom he had grown closer in recent months. That was something I was worried about as well, he said. At 59 years old, I certainly didn't feel obligated to tie the knot. However, I've heard countless anecdotes about long-term couples whose relationships took a dramatic turn at the altar. Testing the waters for the next chapter of their relationship, was the view of the Lpbw star and Karen when they secured their Arizona property, as they disclosed in a confessional. Hey, does this change anything? Is a question that we're starting to ask. Once the house is genuine, we did discuss revisiting our wedding plans, he said. Not necessarily, other than you might sell your house and move in. Both of us respond. He continued, we're considering all of our options, and we really respect and appreciate the concept of marriage and the principles behind it. After 6 years of dating, Matt and Karen became engaged in April of last year. In an official statement, the reality TV personality announced, after 6 wonderful years together, I asked Karen to marry me, and she said yes. Our plan is to enjoy our engagement, and we are looking forward to a simple but elegant wedding in 2024. The fact that Karen had worked at Roloff Farms brought the two of them together in the first place. In the time after, Matt expressed his joy at being engaged, posting a May Instagram snapshot with the message, making TV shows, and mostly just enjoying my engagement and time with Karen. He revealed their relationship status. The businessman assured his followers in a separate remark, "You all kept telling me to put a ring on her." He continued, "So I did." Amy, who co-starred with Matt on Lpbw, and Matt were married for 28 years until their 2015 divorce. No more today. What are you thinking about this gossip today? Let us know in the comments, and stay tuned by subscribing to our channel to get more updates like this. Thank you.